Hi everybody, this is Osprey from MyChartCoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at some of the stocks in the marijuana sector. Okay, first up it's Canopy Growth, ticker symbol CGC. Huge move today, closed up 7.4% after that pullback yesterday. So that was a very nice move. RSI is still above 70, Fasto is still above 80. The bulls are still in control. EMA 4 at 44.55, support is holding. As long as that pink line's holding, the bulls are still in charge. Okay, it needs to break above the high close from the 27th to head higher. It's got to bust through this 48 resistance zone. So check out that really strong uptrend since it broke out here on the 15th on this candle, this black candle here. That close above the 50-day simple moving average in the top of this channel did signal upside potential. It came down here and it almost filled this gap from back in May, but the gap did not fill. You can see the pullback in August. You know, a drop down to 24 would have filled the gap. That did not happen. Boom, it pulled higher, and yeah, it's been pushing higher ever since. There is a gap right here on the chart, so keep that in mind. Really big volume behind the move, huge volume. Okay, so if you look here at the CGC monthly chart, you can see here it's on a blue sky breakout. Okay, this is the complete history of the trading, and so it's up here at new all-time high levels. And so you know, with the blue sky breakout, you know, it just has to keep pushing higher and making new highs. Keep in mind it is busting through that upper Bollinger Band right now. You just want to see it holding EMA 4 and EMA 8 support. That signals the chart is still super strong. Okay, take a look at the 15-minute chart. This is the only overhead resistance over here, and so it needs to happen. It's got to come back up here and break this high close right here in the between 47.25 and 47.50, and then if it can get above that, then you're looking at this all-time high up here at this just below 48.25. It just needs to keep pushing higher. If you see it stall out between this you know, 47 and 48, 47.25, 48.25 zone, that's where it could have a temporary top. It's going to need to bust through that and make a new all-time high close to keep pushing higher. Okay, let's look at TLRY here. It had another you know, had a beautiful day today, closed up 20%. Really good reaction to earnings. It had the big gap up open, so there is another unfilled gap on the chart. There's another gap down here between the 24th, high of day on the 24th and low of day on the 27th, and that gap is unfilled. A drop down there to 44 would fill that gap. A new gap was created between high of day yesterday and low of day today, and so, you know, if it came down here and it tested EMA support down here at 53.50, that would fill that gap. Right now it's busting out. It has today's candle floating above the upper Bollinger Band, so it needs to keep making new highs. If the candles do work back into the band, what you want to see is this pink line hold. As long as the EMA 4 is holding, the uptrend is intact. You can see it came down here and bounced off of EMA 4 after filling this gap, and then it took off higher. The downside risk is if it breaks EMA 4, it could come down and drop to 44 to fill this gap. Okay, let's look at TLRY on the 15-minute chart. You can see it has a really strong uptrend going. It closed right at the intraday high close resistance, which was at 12 o'clock here today, just there at $62, and so it needs to bust through that level. If it can bust through the top of the channels up here, you know, that's pushing around 64, 65. You could see that would line up with the ascending resistance in this upward channel, and so keep an eye on 62. If it stalls out at 62, it could end up dropping below that middle Bollinger Band at 60, 67 and drop down to that 50 simple moving average at 56.22. That is the downside risk. As you can see, it worked down to that level on the 28th on that pullback. Okay, let's look at CRON here. Closed up 15% today. Really sweet move as well. You know, the whole cannabis sector is just busting out. You know, it does have RSI at 80 and Fasto at 97, so it's, you know, the bulls are really pushing here. Notice how plus DI is already corrected. It already pulled back. There was a breakout here above the high close from, you know, it broke out above March high close resistance a couple days ago on Monday, and you know, that created a gap up open, and then yesterday there was a pullback. That gap did not fill. There still is an unfilled gap here, and so if it did drop down to $10, that would fill the gap. The bottom of the gap is above $10, just above that level, but it is still unfilled. Right now it needs to bust through this all-time high here just below 13. If it can do that, that's going to signal it wants to keep pushing higher. These blue sky breakout charts, they need to keep making new highs and new high closes in order to signal the chart's still strong. Once they stop making that new high close, that's a clue that the chart is starting to lose strength. It also closed above the January high close resistance level, so it's closed above that level for 3 days in a row. So you really want to see it stay above $11. Notice the big volume. There's huge volume behind the move. Everybody's jumping into the marijuana sector with the beverage companies, taking stake, and with the speculation that possibly TLRY or CRON group here would be candidates for teaming up with another large brewer. If you look here at CRON on the 15-minute chart, you could see here it had this ascending triangle pattern where you have ascending support, and then you had a horizontal resistance, and then into the close here it busted above the top of that horizontal resistance level, so that is signaling more upside potential. Now it's got to break above that high close from the high from back here on the 27th, and if you can break above that level and start working its way into the 13s, that's going to signal more upside potential. If you see it drop below 1240, that's going to be a signal that it's cooling down. The downside risk is that it comes down to that 50 simple moving average at 1174. Okay, take a look at ZYNE. Big move for ZYNE today. Close up 17.65%. You have RSI at 62, so it is in the bull zone. Keep in mind the last time it got up to 70, it did top out and pull back. You have Fasto now above 80. A nice bull cross here on ADX, so it has a very nice bull cross. And then down here you've got the gap. Okay, so there was the gap down and it pulled back, and then this week it got above the middle Bollinger Band down here on Monday, and it's been working its way higher. Well, right now it's hitting the bottom of the gap level. That's this red line in the 50-day simple moving average. It needs to break above that 820 level. If it can break above that, you've got the 100-day simple moving average at 926, and then above that's the top of the gap, which is lined up now with the 200 and 300-day simple moving averages. If it stalls out here at this 820 level, what you want to see is that EMA4 at 712 support continue holding. Okay, really nice volume here. It has this nice multi-day run, and now if it fails to break resistance, it could take a breather. Okay, if it does bust through, though, look for a run up to that 100-day simple moving average. Okay, take a look at IGC here. Closed up 54% today. This is really pushing hard as well. You can see RSI has been above 70 for several days now. You've got Fasto up here at 99, so they were really pushing into the close. Closed almost at high of day. This has a couple of unfilled gaps as well. There's a gap down here from last week. Way down here at 54 cents would be the bottom of this first gap. And then there was a second gap that was created here on Monday with the big open. And so, down here to about 77 would be the bottom of the second gap. Now today's candle is pushing well above that upper Bollinger Band. If the candles did work into the bands like they did right here, what you want to see is that EMA4 at 148 hold. As long as that level's holding, the chart is super strong. Okay, take a look at IGC here on the weekly chart. You can see here it did bust out above January high close resistance. What we were looking for is it to stay above this high close over here in January and December, and stay above this 1.5, 110 level, and then also above 120. Those were the two key levels. And then also we were looking for possibly a break above this 400-week moving average at 139. That all happened this week. It busted through all those levels, and so now the big level is going to be this 165. If it can stay above that on the weekly chart, that's going to signal it's super strong. Right now it's above all the moving averages on the weekly chart. It is pushing well above the upper Bollinger Band. So on a pullback, you really want to see that 140 level hold. It would be best if it could stay above 165. Now on the IGC monthly chart, you can see here it's up 379% for the month. You do have RSI now at 75 and Fasto at 99, so it's hitting very lofty levels. This is like all-time high levels on both of these indicators on the monthly chart. You have Plus DI breaking out. It's making a huge move this month. It's above the middle Bollinger Band and the 50 months moving average down here at 50 cents, and then right now it's hitting the 100-month moving average at 197.84. So what you want to see now is it stay above $2. If IGC is trading above $2 and it closes above that level for the month, which the month ends this week, then that's going to be super bullish. That's going to signal more upside potential. As you can see here, the all-time high was way up here in the 30s. So this is a really big move for this stock. If it stalls out here at $2 and starts trading below 2, that's going to be a red flag. The downside risk is the candles work back into the bands and test EMA 4 at 112. You can see the last time it pushed above the upper Bollinger Band like this, it was followed by multiple red candles. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you look at IGC here on the 15-minute chart, this was a chart we were working on, and yesterday it hit this level and pulled back, and so it needed to break above that level, the high close from the 27th, in order to head higher. And it did that on the first candle today, and it kept pushing upward. If it drops below that middle Bollinger Band at 187, that's going to be your clue that it's cooling down. The downside risk is it drops down to that 50 simple moving average at 162, similar to how it did down here. Look how it bounced perfectly off that level. If it does break that 187 support zone, that middle Bollinger Band support zone on the 15-minute chart. Okay, take a look at OGRMF. This is another takeover candidate. This is another blue sky breakout play. Now you have RSI up here above 70, Fasto at 96. You can see the bulls are clearly in control when you have the green line above the black line and the red line. When they're lined up like this and green's going up, red's going down, that's a good sign the bulls are in control. This is the chart that was posted back here on the 20th, and when it broke above that 50-day simple moving average, the green line, that was our clue that it was heating up and ready to head higher. And then the next day it did break above resistance. We wanted to see it close above the August 6th closing price, and that did happen. As you can see, every single day since then it's been just pushing higher. It did take a little breather on this red candle, but the big key is EMA 4 at 477 support is holding. As long as that level's holding, it signals to keep riding. Now it's pushing well above the upper Bollinger Band, so you could see it possibly work back into the bands. That's what happened back here. As long as it keeps holding support, it signals just to keep riding. If you look here, there's really big volume behind the move. This is another. This is a takeover target candidate. Motley Fool has posted several articles on this. So this is one to keep your eye on. If you look at OGRMF on the weekly chart, you can see here it's not even above 70 yet, so it has room to run. It's ran up into the 80s in the past, and now you have Fasto above 80, or it's ran above 70 in the past, and now you have Fasto above 80, and then on Plus DI you can see a breakout here for Plus DI, and then you have ADX, the black line, crossing over minus DI, the red line. That's a signal the bulls are taking control. And so this week there's a breakout above the high close from January. That was the big level to break, and then there's a break above the high close from June. And so this has been heading higher. It's on what we call a blue sky breakout. There's no overhead resistance right now except for intraday resistance. This is hitting new all-time high levels. As long as support keeps holding, the signal is to keep riding. If you look here on the monthly chart, this shows how the complete history of the trading of the stock. It started trading back here in 2014, and so yeah, this month breaking above that June and January high close is signaling more upside potential. If it closes above those levels for the month, as long as it doesn't have a big sell-off in the next 2 days, that should be the signal that it's continuing to break out higher. So yeah, this is a really sweet move for OGRMF, and yeah, congrats to everybody that's trading the marijuana sector. Thanks for viewing the video.